Hey, look at that tree. It fell over.
Oh yeah, but wait, look at that cool moss on it.
Whoa. Actually, it's not a moss. It's a liverwort.
What's a liverwort?
It's a bryophyte, just like moss.
What's a bryophyte?
Bryophytes such as moss and liverworts are really tiny plants that lives on rocks, soil, or trees. Although they don't have roots, they can absorb water from their environment and thrive in wet rainforest habitats. Some of the bryophytes can either survive completely dried out and come back to life with a single drop of water.
The world of bryophytes is so small it's often overlooked. However, it sustains more life than we can imagine. Just a single patch of moss can sustain thousands of microorganisms. Bryophytes also exist on every continent in the world, including Antarctica, but are most abundant in tropical areas like the wet tropics of Australia. Despite this diversity, the makeup of bryophytes on tropical trees is heavily understudied in this part of the world.
Despite being small, bryophytes play an important role in the forest diversity and in productive and biomass. They also are indicators for the air quality. They play a vital role in the air-water cycle. They can also help to intercept and retain the rainwater and maintain a moist microclimate in the forest.
When a mature Australian Blackwood tree fell down on our campus's regrowth forest at the Centre for Rainforest Studies, we were curious about what kinds of liverworts and mosses we could find growing on its bark. To find out, we measured the tree and sectioned it into zones: the base, the trunk, and the lower, middle, and upper branches.
We collected 25 square centimeters of bark every half a meter. In the field, we estimated the cover of liverwort and moss and brought them back to the lab to analyze. As you can imagine, for a 20-meter tree, that's a lot of samples.
Back in the lab, we spent some time getting familiar with our bryophytes using identification guides. Though the wet tropics has the greatest sources of bryophytes in Australia, identifying them can be a difficult task as they're so heavily understudied. For particularly tricky ones, we consulted specialized taxonomic literature. We even visited moss expert Andi Cairns, who showed us cool new ways to identify bryophytes.
When we're sampling mosses or their relatives out in the field, we may fail to appreciate their diversity in the sampling quadrats because bryophytes generally are really small. So we really need to bring them back to the lab and put them under the microscope. It's only after we put it under the microscope that we can see their true diversity. In this liverwort over here, they will show features like underleaves and lobules. And also sometimes we need to look closer and look at cellular details and cellular inclusions such as these oil bodies and also the cell wall structures to distinguish between species.
Different bryophytes specialize in living in different parts of the tree. We found bryophytes living in the trunk and lower branches were different from those living in the middle and upper branches. Overall, we found over 50 species of bryophytes.
After we identified all of our specimens, we wanted to understand the diversity of bryophytes along different parts of our tree. We found that the number of bryophyte species increased with height, peaking at around 16 meters with 16 different species found there. The lowest number of species we found was only 2 at 0.5 meters. We also found that zones 1 and 2, or the base and trunk, had less unique bryophyte species than zones 3, 4, and 5 composing the branches.
Our whole tree study of bark-dwelling mosses and liverworts revealed the importance of trees, even in regrowth forests, to provide microclimates for these tiny plants. Some species were more common along the entire tree, while some had a more highly specialized niche, like the cool, moist trunk or the sunny, drier upper branches. It also showed us that certain parts of the tree may be more optimal for some bryophyte species, more specifically, base of the upper canopy in Zone 4.
Our findings agreed with past studies in similar areas.
But it's important to remember that each ecosystem is different, and that includes the distribution of mosses and liverworts. More research is needed in the wet tropics region to understand bryophyte communities and how they serve as climate indicators.
We found such a high diversity of bryophytes in just one tree. Imagine how much we could find across the entire rainforest.
Perhaps now, when walking through the forest, it won't be a blur of green, but instead a combination of many tiny worlds living within it.